Shanks' brother is the man marked by flames, the one who possesses the final road Poneglyph. This is what the primary conflict of Elbaf will be about, defeating the Gods Knights and gaining the final road Poneglyph in the process, so that the Straw Hats can finally begin their journey to Laugh-Tale. To understand why all signs point to this being the case, we must first establish two things that are near guaranteed for Elbaf. First, the Gods Knights will be significant antagonists in this arc, and second, that this arc is about a battle to obtain the fourth road Poneglyph. While most readers already believe that the Gods Knights will be significant antagonists for this arc, you may be skeptical of the idea that this arc's conflict is specifically tied to getting the fourth road Poneglyph. However, this is something that is clear in the overarching narrative direction, the explicit in-story plot threads heading into Elbaf, and Oda's own words. Let me begin with the overarching story perspective. I explain in greater detail in this video, but it was established at the end of Egghead that the all-out battle for the One Piece is about to begin, and the only thing remaining before going after the One Piece is finding the fourth Poneglyph. The only other arcs after Elbaf that have been set up are Laugh-Tale and possibly Mary Joa, and since we can't get to Laugh-Tale without the fourth road Poneglyph, that means that very literally the fourth road Poneglyph has to be found first here in the Elbaf arc. So just logistically, from a big picture perspective, Elbaf has to be the arc where they acquire the road Poneglyph. But even just on a micro level, heading into the Elbaf arc, the entire story has been clearly focused around the singular plot point of getting the final road Poneglyph. This is very explicitly the Straw Hats' current primary goal right now. Not to mention the Blackbeard Pirate's goal, the Red-Haired Pirate's goal, and the Kid Pirate's goal. The plot point of the fourth road Poneglyph and the mysterious man marked by flames has been beaten into us over and over again as the front and center focus of the story right now heading into the Elbaf arc. And here is the final and most important piece of information that everyone seemed to miss that essentially confirms that Elbaf is an arc that is specifically about getting this final road Poneglyph. In the end of the year Jump Festa for 2024, Oda specifically said that the plot of the Elbaf arc is going to be a conflict over obtaining something very important. Oda is not talking about the One Piece here, as he says that this is something that they'll be fighting over in the Elbaf Island specifically. If you put this statement into the context of all the constant reiterated urgency right now about getting the fourth road Poneglyph and finding the man marked by flames, and the fact that narratively for the journey to One Piece to begin they have to get the fourth road Poneglyph, it's all but guaranteed that Oda is referring to the final road Poneglyph here as the object that the conflict of Elbaf is going to be over. And if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to subscribe. But first, we've got a huge holiday deal for you. Every single One Piece Island travel poster ever is now back and available again in the Morge store, with a major holiday pack discount. You can pick any 4 posters you like from the entire collection and get all of them 50% off. And don't miss out on the new posters this December. You can now get the classic islands of Water 7, Enies Lobby, Marineford, and Ohara. We're even rolling out alternate versions of past islands like Thriller Bark, Wano, Onigashima, and more. And the best part is, if you're trying to catch up to the travel poster collection and there are just too many to choose from, you can even get the complete World of One Piece bundle, which is the entire original set of all 15 travel posters, all together discounted for the ultimate collection. So if you want to treat yourself this holiday season, or you're looking for the perfect gift for a One Piece fan you know, then hit the link in the description below and get the holiday discount posters today. Now that aside, here is why this fourth road Poneglyph is in the hands of the Gods Knights. To begin with, a lot of theories surrounding the fourth road Poneglyph assume that it's going to be in the hands of a friendly character. Many initially suggested Saul when we learned that Saul had been burned at Ohara. Others have suggested Scopper Gaban, or even Dragon if one were to consider Dragon's tattoos to be flames. However, the fourth road Poneglyph is almost guaranteed to be in the hands of an enemy. Oda specifically said that Elbaf is going to be a conflict to obtain something, implying that this is something that has to be fought for and earned by the Straw Hats. And therefore it's extremely unlikely that it would be in the hands of some ally who would simply hand it to the Straw Hats. In terms of storytelling, this also simply makes sense, as it is simply anticlimactic if for the final trial to getting to the One Piece, the most important and difficult to find Poneglyph was simply handed to the Straw Hats. So if the arc is about fighting to get the road Poneglyph, and the Gods Knights have just been presented as clear antagonists in the arc, then on the surface, the simple Occam's razor answer here is that the Gods Knights have the final road Poneglyph. And the kicker is that Oda already essentially spelled out for us that this is very, very likely to be the case. The clear indicator that Oda dropped for us was that the road Poneglyph is likely in the hands of someone in the world government. If you go back and read the Blackbeard Pirate scene with Aokiji, almost all of our information about the man marked by flames and the fourth road Poneglyph was explained to us here. This is where we learn that the man marked by flames supposedly has the road Poneglyph on his ship, that he rides around on a black ship, and that he sinks any ship that comes close with whirlpools. And most interestingly, the final major hint that we were given in this conversation as to who this man marked by flames could be was that he is likely someone in the world government. Keep in mind, this description of a man on a black ship traveling around the ocean creating whirlpools does not match anyone else in the world government that we know of at all. There are no admirals who travel around like this or have this whirlpool ability. The Gorsei never even come down to the surface. Literally the only missing faction of the world government that we know of who could fit this is the Gods Knights. And guess what? What we do know of the Gods Knights suggests that they would be responsible for this type of work. The Gods Knights are the ones responsible for carrying out the Celestial Dragon's will on the Blue Seas. They lead the charge at the Celestial Dragon's hunting competitions. They are the ones who are mobilized and sent out to the Blue Sea when the revolutionaries attack Marijua. If the Road Poneglyph was in the hands of a world government member who would be powerful enough to guard it, secretive enough to be a mystery even to the biggest names in the New World, and would logically make sense to be assigned to missions on the Blue Seas, literally only the Gods Knights fit the bill. And so here we are, in Elbaf, where Oda repeatedly keeps telling us that the most important plot point right now is the man marked by flames and the final Road Poneglyph, where Oda has stated that this arc is specifically going to be about fighting over some primary important object that's pretty obviously the Road Poneglyph, where Oda has told us in advance that this Road Poneglyph is likely in the hands of a mysterious world government member who we haven't met yet, and finally where now the main antagonists of the arc have just shown up, and what do you know, it's the mysterious world government members who we hadn't met yet. Literally all of it clicks together. Now I've heard some people argue that there's no reason to believe Shiryuu that the Road Poneglyph is in the hands of a world government member, since Shiryuu doesn't technically know this for a fact. And yes, that would be fair reasoning if Shiryuu was a real person in real life who we were talking to, but this is a story where the author is choosing to have characters make statements for a reason, to help frame things for the reader. It doesn't matter if Shiryuu knows this for a fact or not, the point is that Oda wanted to drop the idea here of the final Road Poneglyph being in the hands of a member of the world government. As such, this is likely a hint for a big reveal down the line. And now I've seen some people say that, well, what if this is supposed to be a red herring, but that's generally not how red herrings are used in fiction. Red herrings are usually the author playing on readers' natural expectations to lead the reader down a route that seems obvious and logical, which is in fact misdirection. For example, a great red herring that Oda dropped regarding the man marked by flames was Saul, as right before Egghead we had heard that there was an important man marked by flames who knew about the final Road Poneglyph, and then shortly afterwards we were told that Saul was still alive with burn marks and he had collected poneglyphs. As soon as we learned that, lots of theories immediately sprung up after that Saul was the man marked by flames. It was a very popular idea until we realized that we had been misled. As such, Saul was an effective red herring by Oda. However, on the other hand, suggesting to us that the Road Poneglyph may be in the hands of a member of the world government is actually the exact opposite of a red herring. It's introducing an idea that immediately seems ludicrous and implausible to the reader, an idea that most every reader will immediately dismiss and not take seriously. If you recall, Shiryuu's statement was in fact generally ignored by the vast majority of readers, including myself when it first came out. Readers came up with many theories based on all the other statements from this Blackbeard Pirates conversation, again many latching onto the black ship and the whirlpools to suggest dragon, or maybe Skopra Gaban, but the clue about the world government member was generally discarded as it just didn't fit our preconceived notions. The question readers asked was, why would a member of the world government be traveling around the ocean carrying such a valuable item that could get stolen? As such, I don't believe that Oda was attempting to plant a red herring here. It's such a strange claim that Oda may actually have been dropping a genuine hint to the truth. As counterintuitive as it sounds, the final Road Poneglyph actually is in the hands of the world government, specifically the Gods Knights. And you might ask then, okay, so what is the answer then, Morge? Why would a Gods Knight patrol the seas with such a valuable item on board? Well, personally, I would not be surprised if the true reason is something that we have to wait to find out. There are many times in One Piece that we have to wait to find out why something is the case that doesn't make sense initially. However, if I had to hazard a guess based on what little we know, what Shiryuu suggests actually does make a lot of sense when you think about it. The initial assumption one might make is that a valuable item would be safest if it was kept above the Blue Sea, away from pirates, up in Marijua. However, that logic only holds if Marijua were extremely difficult for thieves to get to. But it's not. Marijua is actually laughably easy to break into. We've literally already seen over and over that Marijua can be breached by countless different characters. Be that the Revolutionary Army, a single fishman, a 12-year-old girl, a man with no brain. The list goes on. And honestly, if we left it up to the ingenious readers of One Piece who say that the Road Poneglyph is safest in Marijua, then the Blackbeard Pirates would already have it in their possession today, because pre-timeskip Lafitte could quite literally have popped in, taken a stroll around the place completely undetected, and picked up a rubbing whenever he wanted.
Come on, man! That's too easy!
Even if the Poneglyph were kept in an extremely secure room in Marishua guarded by the God's Knights, then that still means that the only barrier for pirates getting the Road Poneglyph would be them finding a way to get past the God's Knights to steal a rubbing. Because again, getting into Marishua itself is very easy. The only tricky part would be getting past the God's Knights. And honestly, just looking at some of the abilities out there like imitation, teleportation, invisibility, and so on, even with strong security, the Road Poneglyph can never be completely safe if pirates are dedicated enough to stealing it from Marishua. However, if the God's Knights are not in a stationary and easily found location and are instead traveling with the Road Poneglyph on their ship, this now adds another barrier to stealing the Road Poneglyph, as the location of the Poneglyph now becomes fluid. Having to find the Road Poneglyph out in the vast expanse of the Grand Line and then getting past the God's Knights is objectively harder than finding the Poneglyph in Marishua and then getting past the God's Knights. But on top of that, there's the additional barrier of even if you do somehow manage to track down the God's Knight's ship, you literally cannot even get close to them as your ship will be immediately sunk. So really what we're looking at here is the God's Knights are guarding the Poneglyph while constantly changing location with no way for anyone to track them and keeping up what is essentially an extremely effective force field around them at all times. This is objectively safer than just keeping it in a room in Marishua where pirates can keep coming up and trying to take a shot at stealing it. The simple fact is that if the Road Poneglyph was somewhere in Marishua, even if it was heavily guarded, someone like Lafitte who can get around even top-tier observation hockey users would definitely be able to steal it at some point. But you know what Lafitte can't easily steal from? A ship that cannot even be found, that even if one could somehow find it, it literally cannot be approached by sea, meaning no one can launch a naval assault on it. Only select individuals who can fly can get to it, meaning you cannot bring a crew or a fleet with you, and flying to it means you're approaching out in the open and have abandoned any hope of stealth, in which case the moment that you land on the ship, you are essentially trying to take on a Yonko level character and possibly an entire Yonko level crew solo. As counterintuitive as this initially seemed, this Poneglyph is a lot harder to get to than a Poneglyph that's just guarded in some room, as the entire plot of Whole Cake Island should obviously have made very clear. In fact, I would not be surprised if the God's Knights were ordered to take the Road Poneglyph away from Marishua and make it an impossible to track target on the Blue Seas after the Fisher Tiger incident, when the Celestial Dragons first realized how easily a pirate could get to the Holy Land and they needed to get creative with making sure the Road Poneglyph could never be found. So the bottom line is, when Shiryuu suggests that it's a world government member who has the Road Poneglyph, the reasoning that Shiryuu puts forward honestly does make a lot of sense if you actually engage with it. It's just that readers, including myself, instinctively threw this out the window at first, until all of Oda's other plot threads began to come together to make it clear that this line by Shiryuu was the truth all along. Oda's been building Shanks' brother up as the final major mystery character to be revealed in the story for a while now. Shanks' brother has just shown up to be the bad guy of the Elbaf arc, all signs point to Elbaf being about winning the final Road Poneglyph, and Oda already spelled out for us to expect the man marked by flames to be a mystery government man who we have not met yet. At this point, it makes significantly more sense for Shanks' brother to fit the missing slot of the man marked by flames than literally any other character. And so finally, let's talk about Shanks' brother, or cousin, or whoever this may be. So to begin with, there are subtle cues that Shanks' brother fits the bill for the man marked by flames. For instance, the man marked by flames' ship is completely black, and so far Shanks' brother has always been clad in black wherever he goes, so this could be a consistent aesthetic. Interestingly, Oda still has not shown us the other side of Shanks' brother's face, so if he has burn marks, it may be on this side. Some have pointed out that as Shanks' brother was likely at the God Valley incident, an incident where much of the island ended up on fire, he may have gotten burn marks from this incident. Note that Shanks himself was safely stored inside a treasure chest, so he escaped this fate. But most importantly, Shanks' brother being the man marked by flames would fit perfectly with the narrative flow of Luffy's journey. Let's take a big step back. Luffy enters the New World with the goal of challenging the four Yonko and winning the One Piece, thereby becoming the king of the pirates. The enemies before him on this path are Big Mom, Kaido, Shanks, and Blackbeard. Oda set the narrative up such that each Yonko represented a step towards the One Piece. Luffy begins his quest against the Yonko with one Road Poneglyph already in possession. After that, he earns the second one in the Whole Cake Island arc against Big Mom. He earns the third one in the Wano arc against Kaido. He needs to earn the fourth one in Elbaf, and then he needs to earn the One Piece itself against Blackbeard, presumably at Laugh Hill. It's a perfectly set up narrative progression, and right here at the penultimate step, it would make sense for Luffy to defeat Shanks at Elbaf to get the fourth and final Road Poneglyph. However, Shanks was of course never written to be a villain. He's not a bad guy for Luffy to beat up. And so in Shanks' place, Oda gave us an evil version of Shanks, the hidden boss of this whole game. This dark counterpart to Shanks is who likely must be overcome instead to earn the 4th road poneglyph here in Elbaf. That was the twist plotline that Oda was setting up for so long. That's why the God's Knights are written much like a Yonko crew themselves, with a full crew of 9 members. This was essentially the hidden Yonko crew that was set to be slotted in place of Shanks and the red-haired pirates as the villains of Elbaf. And just like the previous Yonko crews, they will need to be defeated for the Straw Hats to get their road poneglyph and move on to the final battle for the One Piece. So let me know if you believe that Shanks' brother is the man marked by flames in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video then definitely like and subscribe. And if you want to hear how far back I believe that Oda had the evil Shanks and Elbaf plotline set up, you can get my weekly podcast that just dropped by becoming a member on YouTube or supporting me on Patreon, link in the description below.